Free agency frenzy is in full swing, and the Minnesota Vikings lose two massive pieces that are sure to have opposite reactions amongst fans as we dive into these moves, as well as where the Vikings go from here, as Kwesi, Adofo-Mensah and team management have so much more to do as free agency gets more underway this week. We're going to be breaking down all that in this episode of Vikings Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Vikings update, as this is going to be a massive free agency week. And with that, let's hop into the first topic today, which is Darnold dealt to Seattle. Now, not exactly dealt, but he was signing with the Seattle Seahawks as he signs a 3-year, $110.5 million contract, including $55 million guaranteed with the Seattle Seahawks, as they now have their successor to Geno Smith. This is a big news as far as the Vikings are concerned, because we knew that going into this that Minnesota was going to be releasing Sam Darnold back into free agency, as they didn't choose to franchise tag him with a $40 million price tag, or even signing him to a 1-year, $20 million deal. Now he gets to go to Seattle, where he gets to be the starting quarterback for sure, and doesn't have to worry about a starting quarterback competition. He is just trusted to be that franchise quarterback. Unfortunately for Sam Darnold, he doesn't get to come back with all these weapons that he was so happy playing with last year. Wish him nothing but the best in Seattle. Hopefully we get to play them at some point. We get to beat them again like we did this past year. I know Seattle's a team that just has over the years had our number quite a bit, but we were able to get a measure of revenge last season, getting a big win against them in Seattle. And hopefully if we play them again next year, we will be able to get another win against them and against Sam Darnold. Hopefully he doesn't have a revenge game against us where he torches us. But again, hopefully he just goes and does nothing but the best for himself and for his team, as long as it's not at the expense of the Vikings. As far as I'm concerned, I am very happy. I know you guys are going to be happy too, that the Vikings did not extend Darnold or sign him to a contract or give him the money that Seattle was giving him. We knew that his contract was going to be in about that ballpark, around what Baker Mayfield was getting, or that he was going to be signed on a Geno Smith type deal that he was even signed in Seattle to on a 1-year, $20 million deal, kind of like they were doing. But Seattle, like I called it a few months ago when all these reports were coming out, I said how the NFC, they love to overpay for quarterbacks that don't entirely warrant that price tag. We've seen it all over the NFC. Kirk Cousins is one. Kenny Pickett was one that came over, who was an expensive one as well. Baker Mayfield, he was paid a lot of money. Not saying he's not worth it. However, he's getting paid a lot of money considering what other guys are getting paid. Daniel Jones was another one. He's on Minnesota right now. Derek Carr was another one too. He's gotten injured so many times down there in New Orleans. So there's a lot of quarterbacks within the NFC, and we saw it even in years past as well. Jameis Winston with the Bucks, he was getting paid big money as well. There was a lot of cases and a lot of instances in the NFC compared to the AFC where NFC quarterbacks, they get overpaid for way more than they're worth. The AFC, those quarterbacks get paid too. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, those guys are all getting paid, but they're earning that paycheck. They're playing with teams that they have weapons to succeed with. Joe Burrow, not as much, but they're still worth what they're getting paid. In the NFC, you don't really have a lot of those major franchise type quarterbacks. When you look at the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league, you're looking at the AFC for a lot of them. Mainly the top 5 are all in the AFC pretty much. So where you have to go from there, you see the NFC, where it's just mainly a lot of system type quarterbacks that teams are overpaying for what those top 5 guys in the AFC are getting paid. So it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that Darnold went to a team like Seattle, going to a team that will happily overpay for him, a team that might not be a full contender in a few years, but maybe by the end of that contract with him, they are able to do it, but they don't have him for very long. So their window is very much win now, so you can't win later. So they have to go and try and execute that. Meanwhile, Minnesota, now we get to plan for the future. Now we get to plan for J.J. McCarthy as our starting quarterback, as we were predicting, as we were expecting, as we were hoping for to be, hopefully, that franchise quarterback that we need, that all these AFC teams are paying, all these NFC teams are overpaying for. Hopefully, we have one in Minnesota that is on par with those AFC quarterbacks in a matter of a few years by the end of his rookie deal, where by the time that he does want to sign an extension, he is doing it in Minnesota, doing it for a lot of money, and having the stats and wins to back up getting that paycheck. I'm so excited that Minnesota is going into this free agency without worrying about that hefty price tag that Sam Darnold was going to bring. There was a lot of free agents that we lost out on today that we're going to be covering in a later video. There's just a lot of free agency coming out that we're going to be covering, a lot of stuff happening. I know Milton Williams, he was taken to the Patriots. Jonathan Allen, he was visiting with Minnesota as well, so let's stay tuned for that video as well. We made some other signings as well, which we're going to get into one of them here in a second. But what do you guys think overall? I think I can predict how your reaction is going to be on us not re-signing Sam Darnold, on Sam Darnold leaving Minnesota, and now we have JJ McCarthy as our quarterback for the future. Let us know down in the comments down below how you guys are feeling about this, but that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which I know you guys are not going to be happy about, and that is Bye Bynum. And this is coming from Tom Pelissero saying that Vikings safeties Cam Bynum and the Colts have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $60 million contract per sources, and it was negotiated by Marius Bilbo of Clutch Sports. So it is very, very unfortunate that we do lose Cam Bynum. He was a very big part of the secondary. If we were losing Cam Bynum and or Byron Murphy, if we were losing only one of them, I was hoping that we were going to be able to keep Bynum just because of what he means to the morale of this defense. He's very much the vocal kind of celebration leader of this team. Whenever there's something happening on defense, he's always spearheading the celebrations. He's getting a lot of turnovers. He had a really good breakout year. Even these past 2 seasons, really, he's really enjoyed a great breakout 2 seasons where he's definitely warranted this price contract. I'm not saying that he's not worthy of that. I just wish that Minnesota could have made a deal to get it done with him. Hopefully, this means that Byron Murphy is getting extended. I know it's not looking very grim or looking very bright on that outlook. It's looking very grim as far as Byron Murphy is concerned. But if we are moving on from Cam Bynum, which we obviously are doing, hopefully that means that we can lock down Byron Murphy for a contract where we don't have to worry about Sam Darnold. We don't have to worry about Byron Murphy, so that's $40 million we didn't have to worry about. Milton Williams we lost out on, that's another $20 million we don't have to worry about. So now, hopefully this is opening up the floodgates for a Byron Murphy contract extension. And with the Cameron Bynum stuff, we shouldn't have seen this be so surprising because the Vikings did make a signing today with Isaiah Rodgers reaching an agreement on a 2-year, $15 million contract with the Vikings. Deal includes $8 million fully guaranteed, negotiated by Brian Gavin and Ed Wasilewski of EMG Sports. So yes, Minnesota, Theo Jackson, they extended him. That was really nice to plan for the event of losing Bynum, Harrison Smith, or Byron Murphy because he can play both positions. Now Isaiah Rodgers, you have that filled in to fill the void that Cam Bynum will be leaving. So now we shift to Theo Jackson. Which position is he going to be playing? Is he going to be playing on corner with Isaiah Rodgers, or is he going to be playing safety alongside Byron Murphy in the event that Harrison Smith does retire? Or is he just going to be playing both of them and cycling around like a Swiss Army knife in this secondary because we lose both Harrison Smith to retirement and Byron Murphy to free agency? Hopefully, with this happening, what I would love to happen is, yes, I would love Harry to stay for one more run. If he does, amazing. We can keep this defense even more fortified. If we can go to him and say, hey, we have the juice for just one season. I think we can do it this season, especially with you giving it all your last ride. I think Minnesota has a really good chance there. Now, the opposite side of that is, okay, Harrison Smith retires, amazing career. He's definitely earned all the accolades that he's going to get post-career. So now, with Theo Jackson, you put him at safety, you extend Byron Murphy, then you have Isaiah Rodgers there at corner, and you can go out and do some other things as well within that as well. You know, Shaq Griffin, we don't know what's happening there. Stephon Gilmore, we don't know what's happening there as well. But at least that opens a door where you can have Theo Jackson kind of revolve around both those positions, or if you put him at safety, you still have him and Byron Murphy there for Minnesota. But what do you guys think about Cam Bynum leaving? I know I'm super devastated about it. I was really hoping that this was going to be a signing that Minnesota was able to get done. As much as I love Byron Murphy, I just think as far as what the team morale, his chemistry with Josh Metellus is just unbelievable. You guys have seen all the videos that they did in the locker room this past season, what they were able to do on the field at the NFL awards. It was so much fun to watch this secondary just excel throughout this whole season this past year. We were the only team to get a turnover in every single game this season, and our secondary was a great big part of that. But we knew this iceberg was coming. We knew that, hey, go even as early on in this week 6 in this season, Kirk and I were already talking about free agents that we had coming up, and we were talking about how the secondary was going to be a war zone. It was going to be bad. It was going to be brutal because the entire secondary had to be re-signed pretty much. So now we're in the position of now reality is rearing its ugly head. The iceberg is here. It's not way back there like it was back in week 6. Now it's right in front of us, and it is hitting the ship, and Cam Bynum is the first one of those icebergs to hit. Hopefully, we can patch that up with Isaiah Rodgers and Theo Jackson just moving in and out of there, and Byron Murphy being the next iceberg that we can avoid, and so we can worry about the Harrison Smith and Stephon Gilmore icebergs that are a little less big, but still are very important. But let us know down in the comments what you guys think about Minnesota's moves so far. We are going to be dropping another video later on today as far as the other signings that Minnesota did. We did extend Ryan Wright as our punter. We did go out and do some other signings as well. We met with Jonathan Allen as well, so we're going to be breaking that down as well. So there's going to be a lot of updates coming through to you guys throughout the next day or so, and as well as this week as free agency officially kicks off on Wednesday. So all those RFAs are going to be able to be signed, and it's going to be an absolute war zone. So this is just wave 1 of the frenzy. Stay tuned for wave 2. But with that, I've been your host Griffen. Take care.